Caroline Jones.
I would also like to thank the Minister for taking the time to contact me yesterday, discuss things with me and provide me with a statement this morning. It is appreciated that while we are in the consultation stages of this subject and the legislation is not yet implemented, the proposed legislation is referred to as removing the defence of reasonable chastisement. In simpler terms, the general public will know that this is called a smacking ban, simply. During consultation, it is important that we reach as wide an audience as possible, because this subject is one of a controversial nature and obviously a delicate one. And there are many issues here to consider prior to a ban being implemented. We've got to ask ourselves, is the state extending its clause into family life? How far we are prepared to sort of go with this, and what would the effectiveness of the ban be? We all agree that we must encourage positive parenting, and I looked after 2 children for many years, and never once did I smack them. And they weren't my children. It was a very long time I looked after them permanently for. But, things worked out for us without any smacking at all. Children's rights are important, but I looked at the quotations of 2 mothers regarding a smacking ban, both of whom, disagreed with it. And one said there is a difference between disciplining a child and abusing them. Parenting these days is far too soft, which is the reason we have people running around the street without any regard for authority. I feel sorry for teachers. The pupils now control the teacher. Teachers can't do anything to discipline the children, and in the majority of cases, incentives simply do not work. And teachers cannot do things, and a lot of parents don't think that this is good enough. So it's open to consultation, and I'm just saying views of other people. So everyone has a right for their views to be heard. So this is what I'm saying, a quotation from someone else, and they have every right to put that quotation forward. When we talk about the effectiveness of such a ban, I'd like to ask how it will be implemented, how it will be enforced, how will the cost be borne. What will it cost? And a second parent's view also stated that she thought that people advocating the ban want us to treat children as mini adults, as people that you can reason with, but sometimes you can't reason with children. Children don't always know their own mind and are prone to pushing boundaries. And they've asked, if they ban smacking, can you please provide us with solutions? Grounding, taking away privileges are mostly ineffective. And she then went on to say, people of my generation were smacked, and I felt that we were well adjusted, as opposed to some of the younger generation now. And she said, my first child was smacked. A disciplinary smack is not a beating. And by the time my second child was growing up, there was much media opposition to smacking, so the second child was not smacked. She was placed on the naughty step, and this had no effect whatsoever. Grounding was exactly the same. So in terms of how they turned out, the first was a lot more respectful towards any kind of authority than was the second. 2 teachers whom I know couldn't wait to move to Dubai to teach, because in their own words, regarding discipline, there is no comparison. In Dubai, we can do what we are paid to do, and that is to teach. There are very few discipline issues here, but unfortunately, Wales has lost it. We have no intention of returning. We are teaching, and the children are learning. It is a win-win situation. So our work as politicians is to help parents become the best parents that they can. We encourage and nurture a way of life, perhaps as opposed to banning. And abuse must be dealt with when recognised and punished by law. It is parents who live with their children 24/7, and we must understand and respect their rights also, and to reprimand within reason the children that they bring into the world. Thank you.
Caroline, thank you very much. And I think this illustrates why in the 12-week consultation we do want to get all views into this, but without being under any misapprehension that the intention here is to remove the defence of reasonable chastisement. Now, again, in referring to the document, which we've put a lot of time into in the consultation document, it does refer to what has happened in other countries, and it has not led to queues of parents and guardians outside courts waiting to be prosecuted. It hasn't led to baskets of prosecutions. It has led, by the way, to things such as a spike within the first couple of years of more reporting. But that hasn't led to endless prosecutions. It's been assessed that that is as much to do with the awareness within society of the effect of legislation like this, that suddenly it is not actually the best way to discipline a child is to use physical punishment. But there will be a wide variety of views that are fed in on this. I would draw, Caroline, your attention to page 21 of the document, where it looks at some of the studies around attitudes towards punishing children. Back in 1998, the Department of Health did a study of 2,000 British adults. 88% of parents then at that point said it is sometimes necessary to smack naughty children. November 2015, Welsh Government survey, 24% of parents agreed it's sometimes necessary to smack a naughty child. Things are moving. I speak to people who tell me this. If you've seen the vox pops over the last couple of days of parents, they say that what my parents felt was normal is not the same as what their grandparents felt and so on. That's not to say, by the way, that they were bad parents. They weren't at all. But society moves, we move with it, and sometimes our legislation needs to catch up with exactly what's happening and make clear as well, I have to say, for somebody in a court of law exactly what's acceptable and what isn't. You mentioned the issue of costs. I'm sure there will be lots of submissions during the course of this consultation on that wider package of support. There won't be any additional costs here that we foresee in terms of courts or prosecutions or so on, because the evidence doesn't show that that happens. But there might be suggestions put forward in terms of where the resources are deployed in terms of parental support or social care, etc., etc., etc. And we'll look forward to receiving those. And finally, you made the point, as others did, about getting this to as wide audience as possible. I forgot to mention, Angela and others in response, that as we're speaking, the consultation has gone live on the website. And it is a good and easy consultation to respond to, and I would encourage members to advertise this to their constituents within their regular newsletters and so on, to make sure that people do put their views in. Whether they are a parent or not, they will have a view on this, so put their views in. Thank you.